The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, REL-MAR McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the show. I hope everyone has a safe weekend. The weather is supposed to be really great. So whatever you do it with love, do it with kindness, but be safe. Explanation, my guest this hour is Alan Wright. And he's the author of paranormal books. He has authored 4 books. He is an empath, a sensitive healer, and a passive medium. He went to see his grandfather who had died in 1982, and he went to see him in 1983, but as an astral projection. He has healed people and animals, and he and his wife live in a haunted house. In fact, I believe that you, Alan, have lived in 2 haunted houses. First of all, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you, Rob.
Tell me about the haunted houses that you live in, or lived in.
Well, we lived in Phoenix, Arizona when we first got married.
Mm-hmm.
And the house that we had there, we didn't know it was haunted, you know. When we first moved in, we just, started decorating it and doing our thing with the house.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, she is also an empath and a sensitive and a passive medium also. She started seeing shadows in the hallway at night. And I didn't see them, so, I wasn't too bothered by it. I thought maybe she was just seeing things or something. And, but anyway, I started seeing them also. They were shadow people, and they were going back and forth between the hallway and going into the walls of the hallway. So this kind of frightened us, but at the same time, they weren't really bothering us, and we could put up a curtain or something and not see them at night. But
let me ask you before we go further, what is a passive medium?
A passive medium is a medium who cannot call up the spirits of the dead, but the dead can come to him, and if they want to say something
Mm-hmm.
to somebody that, say, I'm talking to, or that I'm by, or I know, they will make themselves known unto me and what they want to be said. Most of the time, it could come to me in feelings,
Mm-hmm.
or it also comes to me as pictures in my mind. This happened to me on a radio show, as a matter of fact. I interrupted the radio show in the middle of the broadcast and told the whole host that his twin brother wanted me to tell him something, and that was that he was with him at that moment, and that he was with him all the time. And I told him that he was also in one of his dreams, and the spirit kind of nudged me and said, "No, more." I said, "Well, he probably was in a couple of your dreams." And he nudged me again and said, "More."
Oh my gosh.
And I said, "He was in several of your dreams." And the host went quiet for a while, and then he says, "That's right, he's been in a lot of my dreams." And I said, "Well, he's with you tonight, and he wants me to let you know that he's with you all the time. and that he told me to tell you that when it's your turn to pass, he will be there waiting for you. So there was a silence on the radio program that night,
I would
and
imagine so.
and you can tell when there's dead silence for about a minute. That's almost a catastrophe on a radio show. But anyway, the uh, the other host,
Mm-hmm.
co-host, said that I was right on because he had been worried about where his brother was. He wanted to know if he was in a good place, and he was, upset because his brother had passed. And so, anyway, his brother came to me on the radio show that night. That doesn't happen too often, you know, but uh, you never know when some one of these spirits is going to come to me.
What's it like
I'm
when
surrounded with spirits all the time,
really? How do you
and
how do you get used to having all these spirits around you?
well, I'm used to it. I was born into this almost as a little kid. I had an apparition before I even was school age. My mother, my grandmother, and
Mm-hmm.
my great grandmother were they they were sensitives, and they were able to have dreams and stuff about the family and about problems that maybe the family would have or deaths. And I remember my grandparents and my mother, especially, telling stories about things that happened in the family before they forecast it before it even happened. And so I was around this quite a bit. But when I became of school age, I noticed that the other kids didn't really. They thought I was kind of weird when I started talking about things like that. To me, it was normal. To them, it wasn't. So I had to stop thinking about those things and talking about those things to other people. And I kept it to myself. Even some of my family members didn't even know about this. But as I got older and I graduated from high school and
Mm-hmm.
everything, uh, in my um, social life, I should say. Well, actually, my business career, I was in management and retail, and I could not actually tell anybody about those things then either. Could have jeopardized my position that I had then. So I kind of kept this quiet. But now I'm 69 years old. I'm retired, and I'm on the backside of my life now, and I really don't care what people think about it. What I
Yeah.
say, and what I wrote in my books is true. Every word of it is true, and so anyway, that, that's pretty much what happened there.
So, what is it like when you and the missus are out shopping? Now, you're both passive mediums, and let's say you're at the grocery store and you just happen to be picking out your favorite vegetables, and a spirit wants you to give the message to the lady who's beside you. How does that work?
Well, most generally I do. I try. I try not to frighten them. I try to uh, make them feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable when I do it. I don't want them to think that I'm some kind of creeper or something.
Right.
But uh, it doesn't happen too often, like I said. Um, but when it does, uh, I know it, and it's kind of hard to hide it and to keep it within you. When it happens, you almost have to let it out and tell somebody about it. Um, it's I compared to a basketball game. I got the ball, and it seems like the strongest spirits make it to me where they can take the shot and make it or whatever. But uh, they are the ones that can tell me what they want done. The other spirits is there. I don't know why. I've got a chapter in one of my books, ghost magnets,
Mm-hmm.
and people that's sensitive or clairvoyant, passing mediums. They have spirits around them because spirits know when you're sensitive to them.
How do they know that? How do they know that you, Alan Wright, are sensitive and that they can use you to communicate with someone else?
Well, like I said, I was born this way like Lady Gaga said. Uh, they just know. I've been this way since I was a kid, and I also do healings too, and they know that. I used to live in a house in rural northern Phoenix. It was a rural area, and it seemed like the animals also knew that I was an empath. I would take on all the strays that came to the house. And I often felt that people were dropping them off in the front of our house, but that's not the case. Animals also know when they have a friend, and they would come and I would take them in and do whatever I had to do to help them out. That's just the way I am. That's the way my wife is too. We have 3 dogs right now.
Wow!
But at one time we had 6 dogs, and when I lived in that rural area, I woke up one morning and there was 2 horses out in the driveway.
All right, we've got to take a commercial break. Please stand by. X-Zone Nation, Alan Wright is our special guest at this hour. www.alanwright.com is the website, and we'll both be back on the other side as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com.
That's www.bradolson.com.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. My special guest this hour is Alan Wright, and his website is alanwright.com. Tell me about a couple of the books you've written about, Alan.
Well, my first book, I got a little story about that one, too.
Oh, sure. Let's hear it.
Well, when I got married, of course, I told my wife about all my paranormal experiences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she said I should write a book. And, well, I'd never done anything like that before, and I really didn't know how to go about and do it, And anyway, I went to bed one night, and I had 250 Facebook friends. And when I woke up in the morning, I had 5,000. How do you explain something like that? I really didn't know what to do about it. I didn't want to, delete my account or anything,
Mm-hmm.
because the 250 friends I had were pretty close friends.
Right.
And so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and grin and bear it, and it will work itself out. Anyway, of those 5,000 friends I had, most of them, the majority of them were in paranormal. There was mediums, and there was ghost investigators, all these types of people. And I was making friends with some of them because I was talking shop with them pretty much.
Sure, basically, yeah.
And anyway, I was reading a post that this one lady made, and then I read one of the comments, and the comment was made by, her name was Annette Muchix. Anyway, she's the owner of Stellium Books, and she's also a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of, after a couple of days, I gathered up enough courage to get a hold of her, send her a message, and I asked her if she took on new authors, and she said that she did. And she told me to send her a copy chapter of my book, and she would let me know if she would take me on or not. Anyway, I sent her the first chapter of my first book through the veil and back.
Mm-hmm.
And she sent me back and said she would love to be my publisher also. So that's how it got started. And then I wrote the second book, which is at the Edge of Infinity. And then my third book is Roads Less Traveled. And that's definitely, I have traveled roads less traveled. And then my fourth book is My Destination for the Truth. My wife keeps telling me if I have another book in me, and I seem to have one. I'm writing my fifth book right now.
So tell me, what are the books about?
They're all about my abilities, about passing medium stuff. I told you that one
Mm-hmm.
that I had. I also had some other ones also.
So it sounds like these books are more or less an autobiography of your life.
Well, it is, and it's 4 books long so far.
So what do you hope readers will get out of reading your books?
Well, the paranormal's real,
Mm-hmm.
just because you can't see it, just because you don't want to deal with it or anything. There are spirits. A lot of people call them ghosts. I like to call them spirits because at one time they had a physical body just like us, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe pretty soon, some of us are going to be ghosts or in spirit form. So I try to get that message across that paranormal is there, and no matter what we do, it's always going to be there, And there's people that's born that's sensitive to those things. Um, just like I'm a healer. Shaman's been around since the beginning of time,
Right.
and they've been around before hospitals and doctors and nurses and all that stuff, and they did their job, you know.
And in fact, there are
Um,
shamans still this very day doing their jobs.
exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Let me ask you about your book. Let me see, where was it? Through the Veil and Back. What was it about?
well, it was basically a sample of my other books that I wrote. If you buy the Through the Veil and Back, you would get a sample of the other things that I wrote about in my other books.
Now you
I
see,
wrote about
I saw the title Through the Veil and Back. I thought it was about a near-death experience that you might have had.
well, in 1982, near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences were just becoming common usage, I guess, in
Mm-hmm.
the media. And uh, I thought at the time maybe that's what I had. I thought it was a dream also, but it wasn't a dream, and it wasn't an out-of-body experience, and it wasn't near death. I wasn't near death at the time, and the only thing it could have been was an astral a projection, and that's what I found out about it 2 or 3 years ago, and when I was reading about it or heard it on the TV. I don't know, but it was closer to what I had, and that's when I went and saw my grandfather after he died, and he was in a very good place. It was a place that I would call paradise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not heaven because when I was there, uh, they told me things, and one of the things that they told me is where they were at then was it's a temporary place, and as they get ready or as they prepare themselves, they can move on to the next level. I found that heaven's got levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
I also found out that hell has levels to it. So, uh, if I was also told it's based on pretty much on what you did in your life. This life is like a test. If you treated people well, you loved your neighbor, you treated your family well, if you did the things that you very at the best of your ability, uh, then probably you will go to one of those good places, one of those good levels of heaven. Um, Also, if you've been pretty bad, if you murdered, robbed, raped, whatever, you might find yourself in one of those different levels that I call hell, but I don't, that's just what I use for it because it was hell when I went there. Um,
Why? How did
uh,
you get there? Why did you go there?
well, I didn't know that at first why I went there. I went to bed one night and all of a sudden I was in this place and it was dark, very dark. And in the air, you could actually feel it. There was dread, fear, hatred, all the negative emotions that you want to have. It was in this place, and they were magnified. They were very strong, and it was a dark place. I could barely feel in front of or see my hands in front of my face,
Hmm.
but I did see shadows of buildings off to the right and off to the left, and they looked like apartment buildings, but there was no lights on in them or anything. They looked vacant. And all of a sudden, I noticed from around this one building, a spirit was motioning for me to come over. And so I started walking over to him, and I was kind of fearful because I felt a presence behind me, and I kind of glanced behind me, and there was about 3 or 4 shadow people behind me,
Hmm.
and I didn't know what their plans were for me. But I kept walking along until I got over to closer to him, but I stayed on the path, and he wanted me to come closer yet, and I told him no. I said, "What do you want?" And he said that from what I gathered, he had murdered somebody in this life that he had, and he was afraid that where he was at now, this guy was at too, that he had murdered, and he was wanting to know if I could help him out, I guess. And I basically told him that there was no way I could help him out, because once you're in a place like that, no shaman's going to help you. And you're pretty much where you're going to be at.
So do you also consider yourself to be a shaman?
Well, I'm a healer.
Mm-hmm.
I could possibly consider myself a
Okay.
shaman, but I was just using that term. That,
Oh, I see.
you know, nobody was going to help him out. Maybe a witch. I don't know. I don't want to make any offense here. But anyway, he was the husband of a lady that I used to go to their house, and she would get headaches. She had some kind of mental problem that gave her headaches, and they were almost as bad as what you might call them, the real bad headaches.
A migraine.
Anyway, I would place my hands upon her and give her a blessing, and these headaches would normally go away, or sometimes be lesser than what they were before I went there. And she would call me out maybe once or twice every 2 weeks or so, and he didn't like me. He thought I was a crackpot, and he would go off into the bedroom or into the kitchen or something. He wouldn't speak to me at all while I was there, even when he let me in the door. But I thought now, when he called me to in this place where he was at, I think he thought that since I helped his wife those years, I mean, I spent a couple of years with doing that for her, that possibly I could help him.
Alan, you and I have got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. X-Zone Nation, Alan Wright is our special guest. www.alanwright.com. And we'll both be back on the other side as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Well, in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada for now anyway. We'll be back. Don't go away. From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. Alan Wright is my guest this hour. His website is www.alanwright.com. That's ALANWRIGHT.com. And we're speaking to Alan from Utah tonight. And Alan, before we went to the break, you were telling us about this lady that you used to go over to her house. Her husband used to let you in, but he really had no use for what you were doing. He didn't believe in what you were doing, and you were kind of helping his wife out. And yet you met him on the other side, and apparently, from what I understand, he was asking you for your help.
Yeah, and like I said, I told him that I could not help him at all. Yeah, at this time, that's when the projection stopped, and I got up, and it was early in the morning when I awoke. The feeling that I had when I came back from this place was the feeling that I had while I was there. I carried some of those emotions with me. I had anger. I had dread, and I was in a depression. And this carried over with me for about 2 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
I had to cleanse myself a couple times. But I finally got rid of it. But my wife took the brunt of this because I would snap at her sometimes, and I just got angry at people. And it was the kind of anger that I didn't really have in my old age. I had it back when I was young, but not now. And so anyway, I was able to get it over with. But it's an experience that I wouldn't want to do again. Even when I talk about it to you, like
right,
my wife, if she's in the room with me, she'll have to get up and leave because she gets almost physically sick when I talk about this, and that's because she is a sensitive, and she can almost see what I went through when I was there, and she knows what I brought back with me, and she's almost physically sick. In fact, one time she had to go in the bathroom. And anyway, it's really a bad place. You wouldn't want to go there. But there again, I was told it's a temporary place. People that's there probably will feel like they've been there forever, but it's not. They can improve upon themselves. I don't know how they can do this, but if they improve upon themselves, they can start moving up that ladder and start going to a place that's a little bit better than the one before. And anyway, on my grandfather's side now, when I came back from his, I felt like I had seen God, like I had stood before God. I felt like I had a glow about me. I had all those good emotions that I had when I went into the light. The light, by the way, that was projected from this being that I saw in this projection was love and mercy and you name it, all the good ones, except it was a tangible thing. You felt like you could reach out and hold on to it, and it went straight through my body, and it was something that I did not want to leave. It was something that I wanted to stay in that light forever. And this is the same light that these people that have near-death experiences, and, that's the light that they see at the end of the tunnel. And I had pretty much the same experience, except mine was different in that I don't know how long I stayed there. When I woke up the next morning, I had a uh, I had my grandfather and I walked along the path just before I left, and he was telling me things, but I don't know what he was telling me. And when I came back and I uh, woke up from this, I had a feeling that he told me maybe I had to better my life, had to make better choices or whatever. But at the same time, I felt like he told me some other things, but I didn't know what those things were. But, as I get older, my abilities are getting stronger. And as I got older, also, little bits and pieces of this uh, projection that I went on also comes into play, where I have a knowledge of what they told me when I was there, and like the different levels of heaven and hell.
Well,
And
wait
the
a sec.
different
Who
things.
are the they you're talking about?
What's that?
Who are the they that you keep referring to?
Okay. Well, the they that I'm talking about is actually my relatives and my well and close friends
Okay.
and my grandfather. Uh, when I almost have to tell you the whole thing, but I went into the light, and when I came to, I passed out, and when I came to, I was in a meadow, and I was in deep grass, and I didn't know where I was at, but I was out in this place that was beautiful. It was everything was perfect in it, but it looked like the earth. It had green grass, trees. I heard birds and everything, and there was water in the background, like a brook or a stream. But when I stood up in this grassy field, I was in the middle of a circle of people. And as I looked around, I realized that everybody in that circle I knew as my ancestors or my family members and close friends who had passed on before me. And these are the people that I'm talking about when I say they,
Oh, gotcha.
and my grandfather also.
What was it like when you saw your grandfather?
Well, my attention was mainly to him and for him.
Mm-hmm.
He expressed his love for me. I expressed my love for him. But this was done telepathically. He did it. It was like a voice right in my head. I felt like I could talk,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have to. And I did the same. Had the ability to do it, and I don't know how I got that ability, but I was able to tell him, everything that I wanted to tell him telepathically. And it was great seeing him. He looked like he did when he was living. They say that when you go to heaven, that you're going to be in your youth, or when you were at your healthiest
Right.
state, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know if that's true or not. I think probably you're at the age that you want to be, when you're there. There's no time for them. So age is just a relative term. I mean, they don't consider time. There's no time, no clocks, no watches, none of that. So when I say I went to bed at night and woke up in the morning and found out all this knowledge, that is not true. I have found out over the years I had to be there longer than just 6 or 7 hours. I don't know whether I was there a week, a month. I could have been there a year. I don't know. When there's no time for them, it's different than.
But there
for us.
there is time for you, and if you're saying you were there maybe a week, a year, didn't anybody miss you on this side of the veil?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They could bring me back to the same time where I left.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this: how do you know it just wasn't a dream?
Well, mainly because of the things that I was told, and the things that happened. It just was not a dream. If it was a dream, it was a life-changing dream for me. It was something that I have carried for my rest of my life now.
Right.
And I can tell you things about it like it just happened yesterday. A lot of times I can have a dream and I don't even know what it was the next morning, I used to tell people that I don't dream. you know. But this dream and the one where I went to hell, if it was a dream, it's something that, I don't know, was placed there by somebody other than my psyche, you know.
So what does
Because
what does the rest of your family say about the work that you do now? You're a paranormal author, you're a healer, you're a passive medium. What do they say about that?
Well, I'm estranged from my family, really.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
When I moved from Arizona to Utah here, some of them knew that I did healings and stuff because I told them.
Yeah.
And I also told some of them about, when I went and saw my grandfather. But that was years ago. And but I didn't write books then. I didn't have the experiences that I'm having now. I mean, the passive medium things I did not tell them about. And my sister, my one sister now, she knows totally about it. And I'm close to her. And every time I get a book published, I send her a copy of the book. And she's very much supportive of this and everything. So that's all I can say about that.
Okay, Alan, stand by. You and I have to take our final break. In Exonation, our guest this hour is Mr. Alan Wright. His website is alanwright.com. That's ALANWRIGHT. And Alan and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break. That's alanwright.com. This is the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and iHeart Radio, as well as on SimulTV, www.simultv.com. And once again, I'd like to say hello to all our friends listening to us on AM 1600 KOHI in the beautiful state of Oregon. I'm Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on SimulTV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is SimulTV. SimulTV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. SimulTV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have SimulTV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Alan Wright is my special guest this hour. www.alanwright.com, and that's ALANWRIGHT.com. Alan, I understand that you have also cast evil entities out of homes. How do you do that?
Very carefully.
I would imagine so.
Well, I know the one story I wanted to tell you is I went on a vacation, like over to California to see a friend, and she lives in a house that was built probably in the 20s or 30s, and it was wood frame, 2-story. Anyway, when we went in the house, she wanted to know if we wanted to have a tour of the house, and I said sure. So she took us around, showed us the different rooms and stuff, and then we went upstairs. And when we got upstairs, there was 2 bedrooms off to the left and a bathroom straight ahead of us. And the one bedroom off to the left at the end of the hallway was sending out bad vibes for me. I can feel them and I can sense them. The one bedroom I didn't have any problem going into, but the next bedroom I stayed outside and I kind of glanced in there. I knew there was something in there that I did not want to go in. Anyway, we went downstairs, and about this time she had 2 daughters that came in. They were about 20 years old or so. And she was telling them what we'd been talking about and everything. And the daughter said, "Oh, did you tell them about our ghost?" And the minute they said that, then I knew what was going on. According to the 2 daughters, that maybe 2 or 3 times a week they would hear a baby crying in the house. And I told them, I said, "It's coming from that bedroom upstairs, isn't it?" And they said, "Yes, it is." And I asked their mother there, my friend, I said, "Do you want me to see if I can do something about it?" And she said, "Yes, I would appreciate it." So I went up there and I basically commanded it in the name of Jesus Christ and God, or our Creator, to leave the house. And I did this in such a manner that I commanded it several times. And I also blessed the house that the spirits, whatever spirits might be in there, would leave. And the minute I did that, you could feel a definite good atmosphere in the house. It was more relaxed. But anyway, after our visit, we went back home, and a couple months later, I called her and I asked her if she was still having problems with the ghost or with the baby crying. And she told me, she said, "No, whatever you did, you got rid of it." And as far as I know, it's still out of the house. Where I cast it to, I didn't care really, as long as it was on the outside of the house. But I have done that. I've also just blessed houses to maybe keep the unwanted guest out. I've also blessed them. Just somebody might think that there's a spirit in there that's not good. I also do that way. So, now, when it comes to demons and stuff like that, I'm going to leave it to the very good professionals, because I'm not. I know the ghost investigators and stuff like that, they can come home with attachments and stuff like that. And I had to deal with an attachment once from writing my book, believe it or not. I was writing my book, and next thing I know, I got it through my, I guess, my telephone. I got an attachment.
What did you
And
get?
I had that for about a week or so too.
Well,
That's another thing.
when you say an attachment, what kind of attachment?
I don't know. It was a bad one. I know that it was draining my energy. It was draining my energy. It was giving me bad thoughts all the time. It was something that I never had before, and it was almost like some of the feelings that I got when I was in hell there. And there again, I had to basically cleanse myself and get rid of it. And I did. I used sage at that time and olive oil. And I saged myself and used olive oil on myself, gave myself a blessing. But I was able to get rid of it also then.
So tell me, Alan, how do you deal with skepticism when you tell your stories, you meet people in public, and they kind of don't believe you? How do you deal with that?
Well, like I said, if they don't believe me, that's their choice. They have their free will. I'm not forcing it down their throats. I'm not like a a preacher or anything, They can read about me in my books. It's all true. I don't do public speakings other than on the radio. That's the only time you'll probably hear my voice. But if they don't believe me, all they have to do is just don't believe me. Turn off the radio or don't buy my books. But it's all true, and I went through all of them, and I'm not crazy. I like I said, I was born this way. I've had these abilities. Some people call them gifts. They're gifts at times when I can heal somebody and bring them back from the brink of death. But at times when I try to give somebody a blessing and they die anyway, then it's not a blessing. It's kind of like a curse, but I call it an ability. And
well, wait a second. Hold on here. You bless somebody and they die anyway.
Well, yeah, I found out in my lifetime when I give blessings to people and stuff that only about 50% of them take, and I don't know why. I come to the belief that maybe it was their time to die, or maybe it was their time to go through something that they had to go through in order to move on to their next life.
Right. Okay.
I also found out the same thing with animals. I can bless animals, and there again, only about 50% of them take.
You were telling us earlier that one morning you woke up and there were 2 horses in your yard.
Yeah, there was.
So whatever happened to the 2 horses?
Well, I was wondering what to do with them myself.
Yeah.
I was about ready to call animal control or something,
Right.
But what happened was about a couple hours later, the owner of the horses was driving around the roads there and was looking for his horses. And he saw them out there in my driveway, so he pulled on in and he said, "Those horses are mine." They escaped their corral last night.
Oh, my gosh.
So anyway, that's where they went.
So when you heal people, what is the most perplexing healing that you've ever done?
Well, this one lady, she called my wife one morning and said that her daughter was in an automobile accident, and she was in the hospital on life support, and she heard that I give blessings and that I could do healings, and she wanted to know if I would be willing to go to the hospital and give her daughter a blessing. Apparently, her daughter and her boyfriend was at a bar, and they were pretty well drunk, and anyway, they got in a fight, and she went out into the parking lot and jumped into his Jeep, which didn't have any sides or roof on it, and he came out and decided he was going to drive, and he was driving real fast on a curvy, windy, dippy road, and he went down this dip and came up, and there was a sharp curve to the right, and he couldn't make it. And the Jeep rolled, and it threw her out, and she hit her head. And anyway, she wanted to know if I'd give her a blessing, and I told her that I would. So I got my friend and we went down to the hospital. We went into ICU. The nurses let us in when I told them the family wanted me to give them their daughter a blessing.
Right.
So I went in, and I never seen anything like that before in my life. She had tubes and wires and everything hooked up to her, and there was machines all around her. She wasn't laying flat in the bed. It looked like she was like in a armchair or something, except the arms were extended where her arms were extended from her body.
Right.
And the legs of this thing had her legs spread also. She looked like she was about ready to fly or something.
All right, we're going to have to speed this story up because I've got about 30 seconds left.
Okay, well, I gave her a blessing. I told her, I gave her a blessing. And anyway, to this day, she's married and got 3 or 4 kids that I know of, and they moved to California. So,
wow.
Yeah, it does work. There's power out there.
Alan, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Congratulations, and keep the good work up. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Alan, if you'd like to get a copy of his books, they're available at his website at www.alanwright.com. That's ALANWRIGHT.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell, and to find out all about the programming we have available for you 24/7, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.